doing well. If not, as always, I hope it gets better for you. So welcome to another Friday Night Live Q&A. And hopefully we do all right here. We are in the quarantine section of my fish room in my fish house or fish arena, whatever you call it, because we've got the fish house and then we've also got the fish barn. But anyways, that's not what these Friday Night Live Q&As are for. They're for you guys, to help you guys out with whatever aquarium keeping woes or whatevers you may have, because there is a lot of ways to keep aquariums, and I have run through the gauntlet. And not only am I here, but we've got an amazing community here with us as well. Go ahead and jump in the live chat. Hello to you all. Glad to see you guys in here. Hello, hello. Video quality's coming out too. Being here in this area, I don't know, might not be the greatest. But I don't know. Can you guys at least see the fish? There's the cardinal tetras there. We do got fish here. We got the trout gudgeons up there. We've actually got tiger teddies over there. We've got, what's in there? Goldie-eyed decay. Or no, this is the, that's the rainbow tiger endlers. This is goldie-eyed, no, those are pseudomagul arutus, goldie-eyed decay, melanitania, super rare, one of my favorite rainbow fish. And then also there's some pseudomagul illuminatus on it in there. Then at the bottom we got the black corridors. We got mixed guppies. I don't know this. I'm not sure what line this is. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's like this white lace snake skin. The rotaya is going crazy in there. The tank looks dark and gritty from like afar, but when you see it in person, it really does pop. It's just, it's that plant is covering that whole light. And yeah, some of these tanks could use a little cleaning, could use a little scraping and a water change. But whatever. I thought it'd be somewhere different for us. And I will keep rambling until I do see questions as well. Outside in aquatics, reminding people if you want to ask a question, feel free to spam those question marks as well. If you guys haven't noticed, I've been cranking out the content for y'all, trying to catch you guys up on what's been going on here. Since I keep a filterless fish room, I do a lot of things different. Just using nature, all this, no filter. The pieces that you do see in it, I mean, they're a little gaudy, but that's an outflow system. So it does have a water change system ready to hook up. I just still haven't hooked it up yet because I've actually got to drill through the house. And I just haven't been ready for that. Because I need to do like a whole trench down. Like I need to, if I'm going to drill through the house to get the water change to go out of the house, I'm going to want it to go away from the house as well. And Stan Pittman, welcome, welcome. I thought you were already a member. Maybe renewing. But if not, Stan, welcome. And thanks for becoming a member. See lots of green. Yeah, there's actually a bunch of guppy grass here. There's a lot of algae in here. Being my quarantine tanks, I really do not like mess with them a whole lot because I'm just really, well, for the most part is when I get a new fish, you want that fish to feel as comfortable as possible. And one of the best plants to make a fish feel comfortable is algae and just the dirtiness of a natural aquarium. Because odds are, that fish ain't seen a dirty natural aquarium for a while. And when they finally do get in there, they absolutely love it. These fish are so happy in these tanks. They like it dirty like that. Now, they're not the best for like displaying and like, ooh, ah. Like, yeah, I'll grant you that. But you know, you got tanks for that. Considering I do a lot of farming anymore, as far as like fish breeding and trying to just keep some strains alive, because a lot of these strains, they'll go away, like these melanitania goldie-eyed decay. If I'm not to breed them, who's gonna freaking do it? There's not a whole lot of people out there. And for those that do have them and maybe possible to do it, they don't have the outlet to sell them like I do and to keep them and get them around. So I feel like I really got to put my attention towards that kind of stuff, which works for me too, because I got to feed the family, or well, buy new fish and feed the family in the meantime. Boom, 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 boom. All right, no questions. So I guess, I don't know, maybe we won't have a Q&A. Outside and aquatics, 13 months, silver member. Holy crap, 13 months. Crazy how time flies. I can't believe that. I can't believe that. I remember the first time your wife had reached out for me. I think it was for Father's Day, maybe? I remember, something like that. Your birthday or Father's Day. And I really found out who you were. And I can't believe you've been a member for 13 months. That's crazy. That's a long time. Hey, y'all, any of you in North Carolina going to the expo tomorrow, right? Aquatics. So, yeah, if you guys didn't know, the Aquatic Expo is going on in, I think, Charlotte, North Carolina. If you guys are in that area, I definitely would recommend checking out that show. Definitely worth it. I would have went if I didn't have so much to do. Matter of fact, we're watching Garden of Eater's kids. Why they're always busy doing it. I was half tempted to tag along on the way up with them, but I had way too much to do here, and I didn't want to leave Lady LRB stranded either. Gary W says, "What are you breeding?" Name it. I'm trying to breed everything. I've bred like countless amounts of fish here through YouTube for a long time, but currently working on rare rainbows like Melanitania cernurgos, Glossolepis maculosus, hoping to get the Melanitania goldii decai going here soon. They're still kind of small. They need to get some size to them. The Cato River rainbow fish, and then the Melanitania classioensis. I think that may be a fish that I might be the only one that has that strain. There's a lot of guppy lines I've been trying to like boost up and get out just because, I mean, I love guppies. Guppies are cool. Endlers are cool. I've got a lot of those. Tanganique and cichlids, mascara barbs. So I got a big project coming for them soon. Killifish, I'm planning on getting into killifish more as far as like breeding them. Like I do help get them around the hobby a lot, but like there's certain ones like the blue galaris that like I feel like I need to start putting some attention towards. Then there's like a few stragglers. I'm gonna be messing with some tetras and stuff here going. And then I've got tons of shrimp. Breeding all kinds of stuff, grown fish, or grown plants as well. Got some wild bettas I'm trying to work with. And some other live bears as well, not just guppies, like some of the rare live bears. Wandering Spirit says, I watched your rack video, but does the bottom shelf need to be on the ground, and do I need to use the particle board that makes the build more money? So, in my opinion, the particle board helps beef it up. It depends on, like, I went pretty tall with it, and if you don't put the base, the bottom shelf on the bottom, on the ground, flat, and it's just the legs, like, yeah, you can do that, but there's still some top heaviness to it that, like, you're putting more pressure on these, like, little stubs. I don't know. I prefer it, like, flat on the bottom. That way, if I run into it, I'm not going to knock it around so much. It's beefy. I actually tie all my racks in together, too, for that purpose. Or even back in the old house, I would get a piece of wood and tie it into my wall to my studs. That way, whenever, like, there was a corner, I would come around, like, quick, and then sometimes I would knock into it. Like, I would definitely make sure that was supported for that. But that's the main reason why I put it on the bottom, is just so it doesn't get that top heaviness, and it's more like secure when it's like down on the ground. And as far as the particle board, you know, that OSB's not that, like, I know it's not cheap, but it's not real expensive. You can get quite a few runs off of a 4x8, which I think is like 13 or 15 bucks now. I don't know if they raised it with it being construction season as far as building houses. But I would say it's worth it. Definitely worth it, in my opinion, to use the particle board. Yeah, you could do it without it, but it transfers the weight better, in my opinion. And it kind of like hugs everything together. Because, you know, the wood still has its gaps. When you screw onto that and keep it all connected, it's going to be stronger. I want my racks to just, like, you can run into them and nothing happens. I'm down in Florida. I got to make them hurricane proof down here. La Deanna White says dwarf neon rainbows, question mark, question mark. So I've got a bunch of babies growing out. Oh, I have been breeding those too. I'm sure there will be plenty of fish. Oh, all the rice fish and Medecas that I got going. I've got all kinds of different Medecas going. So I'll have to eat my words on that Medeca video that I made a while ago, which I showed them. I mean, I guess it's still good because it showed you guys what the difference of keeping them inside will be compared to what it's like keeping them outside, because outside they actually look pretty phenomenal. And I got quite a few things going on out there with them. And yeah, there's a lot of other stuff I'm breeding that I'm sure I'm forgetting, but I have a bunch of baby of the dwarf neon rainbows. They're just still pretty small, so give them some time. Outside in Aquatics is with Ladiana. Is it Ladiana? Or a Ladina? I don't know. Can you let me know the difference? Ladina. But anyways, he agrees on the dwarf rainbows. Artist Lisa Matthews says the pair of red champagne checks I purchased from you are spawning regularly. A junior male appeared and I saw another smaller fry recently. Ultimately, how can I keep in a 10-gallon tank? Let's see. Junior male appeared and saw another smaller fry recently. You want to keep them both in the same tank? Let's see, that's what happens when it comes to breeding fish. Now you guys know why I always need more aquariums. Because those sorts of things happen where you'll have like this breed out and then you've got like this bigger one that just takes all the space up for everything else. And you just don't want the smaller ones to get eaten because, you know, not all of them hatch at the same time. Saying that, what I normally do is I'll have a space for the bigger ones as they grow out and then like a smaller space. So if you really want to breed anything, and I always say this, is you need at least 3 tanks. You need your breeding tank, you need your fry tank, and then you're going to need your juvenile tank. Because once they get to a certain size, they don't really start predating on each other as much, because they just either can't fit in each other's mouths or it's just not worth the trouble and the fight for them to do so. So saying that, to keep them together without them eating each other, I would say if possible, you're going to have to set up another container. It doesn't have to be huge for those killifish. Maybe even a fish bowl or something. You can just grow that little guy out in there and wait till he gets big enough to put with the other. That's really about your only option. I so forgot to get water for this live stream. Lady 10 says, will high nitrates kill neo shrimp? I could imagine it's not good for them. I don't usually have to deal with that so much though. Since I have the natural aquariums, all that beneficial bacteria in there and the plants, it eats up those nitrates. Matter of fact, I used to dose nitrates in my aquariums. But if you don't have all that naturalness to take care of those nitrates, then yeah, potentially it could poison out your shrimp. Google gobble! Uh-oh. Colt's in here. And their leader. They're blowing up the chat. Boy, that chat got lively. Google gobble, Google gobble. You guys are taking over. Such good people. Let's see. Glad to see you guys all in here, though. Hello, hello. All you Google gobblers. Wandering Spirit says, what are your thoughts on aquatic isopods? There's a lot out there that I think is still to be discovered. And they're neat. It's just a lot of people don't quite understand them and probably fear them more than they should. But the more we talk about them, the more that we learn about them, you know, maybe we can better out some ecosystems for our fish. Oh, Tamara Money. He's even got his wife in here talking smack. No chance that's what you got. Oh, I see ya. She told me she wanted to see me in a body cast. Heard that on Twitch. I heard that. I heard that. Look at them. Now they're talking. Now they're talking smack. And then she says, you look like you'd be ticklish if Joey were to tickle you. Now, I did hear you say that he's not ticklish. We could have a tickle off and see who laughs first. That would be interesting because I'm not that ticklish. Wesley's about the only one that can tickle me. He knows how to tickle me, but I don't think the king of DIY would. But either way, if you guys want to see me knock the king of DIY out, if you guys haven't noticed in my description, on my videos now, we do have the tickets linked back up. That's going back on. The Fins and Fury should have more of a official announcement here on Monday, is what they're saying. We'll see, we'll see. But anyways, it's about to get crazy around here. Once all that fires up, look at that. He's already got this whole clan in here that's just itching. All right, Neo Veritas 7 says, I'm thinking about recycling water from water changes when nitrate is high. Storing it in a barrel with an established sponge filter, would this be beneficial to cultivate aged water? So it's always better to have aged water when changing your water, because that is biologically sound live water, and that's what I often stress. Like, that's what can cause a lot of issues for people when they do their water changes, is it is sterile. It's not lively or aged. So that can work. It is a lot of extra work. I don't know what your time is. I know a lot of people don't have the time to do that or the resources. So it's not dire, but you could definitely get away with like bigger water changes by doing that kind of thing, if needed to be. But in my opinion, you know, with the sponge filter and all that, I think that you don't necessarily need the air line in it, but a sponge in it would be helpful to hold that detritus and hold that mulm. But you also have to have something in there to kickstart the cycle, so you'll probably want some fish in there too. Or you could just age it out. A lot of the biggest problems with people in water changes when they do water changes is they don't realize all the hydrogen molecules and stuff that gets hammered into the water that causes those pH spikes. And that's where a lot of fish will have troubles with water changes from those pH spikes. And that's because the water is way too aerated. And that aeration will just eat up a fish's skin coats. It'll stick to their gills, just like it sticks to your plants and stuff. It messes with all of that. So that's why you shouldn't do like real big water changes. Like, yeah, sometimes you can get away with them if your tank is mature enough or if your filter Has a lot of beneficial bacteria to bounce back from that. But you got to be careful with that too, because if you kill that beneficial bacteria, that's when you'll start getting that white cloudy tank and all that. Because if you kill that bacteria, that's what it starts looking like. And it could get bad quick. Google gobble, Google gobble. You guys are everywhere. I love it. I love it. Oh, let's see some skills. You guys want to see some skills? You guys will see some skills coming up for all that. You guys just wait. You'll see some. I'm not giving them all to you. But soon you'll see. I've got things lined up. Show you what real training is like. Joey talks like he doesn't train. We all know you've been training for years for this, Joey. Neo Veritas 7 says, I ordered some trout gudgeons from you last night. Gonna put them out in a pond and try and make more. Any chance on getting mixed sex? I ordered 4. So that's the hard part about the trout gudgeons is trying to sex them. They about yay big. They all look the same to me. More than likely with 4, you'll end up with a mix. So I'm pretty sure luck will be on your side. I have been keeping them out in a pond myself personally. It's not where these came from, but I have. King of DIY says it there. The King of DIY versus LRB Aquatics. It's final. Can you believe it, guys? So I'm going to be fighting the King of DIY, Joey. Now, how many of you guys have wanted to punch Joey? How many of you guys love Joey? How many of you guys wanted to punch me? You know? But either way, you're going to see him and I duke it out. Like, this has never happened. With fish keepers in the fish hobby, like, it's such a zen hobby. But, you know, like, why not spice things up a little bit? And I think this is definitely going to do it. So it's still a couple months out. It's August 17th. It's going to be in New York. There's pay-per-view tickets, like I mentioned, in the description. There's also tickets to go to the event. So if you go to the Fins and Fury website, it's back up now, the finsandfury.com. You can actually go and see all the fighters on the card. There's going to be quite a few fights, even more than what's shown on there. But you can click on each person that has a bio and all that. And then if you click for their tickets or for their pay-per-view through their bio, you can actually support your creators. And not only are the fighters coming, but there's also a bunch of other YouTube creators coming too. So I believe you're going to have KG Tropicals and Jay Wilson announcing it, doing the announcements, and then a bunch of whole slew of other creators. So if you go to Fins and Fury website, should say all that. I believe that's still all lined up. I'm not 100% sure on who all was still coming, but there's a lot on that website to check it out. If you guys are interested, like if you're into sports, if you're into boxing, or just entertainment alone, or even fish, I'm like, this is going to be a crazy night. Like, literally, nothing like this has ever happened within this hobby. I think it's going to be good for it because I feel like you can only see so many tanks. Let's see some entertainment. But I'm excited for it. Like, Joey has no clue what he got himself into. It's going to be so good. It's going to be so good. So stick around. It's marinating. It's marinating right now. So you got 2 months coming up where you guys, who knows what's going to come out of it. Because I definitely got some things planned to show you guys. But anyways, let's get back to the questions here. Almost Sapien says, have you picked out a walkout song yet? I have. It's all figured out. So that was actually one of my hardest parts about the whole event, was trying to figure out the walkout song. Well, you guys will see. I'm not going to spoil that yet. JP Jeffries says, How much more benefit to the growth of fry would it be using granules versus live BBS? Live, I think a mixture of both is good. Live food is always better. When it comes to processed food, live food is always better. I tell you what, now that I have my fry outside too with the heat and all the natural food out there, my God, they grow so much better. Like I am absolutely loving it. I still haven't even shown you guys what I've done in the backyard. I've been trying to push the content to catch you guys up with all that, which is coming. I pushed out like 4 long form videos this last week. I'm trying to hit like Saturday, Sunday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays with long form and short forms in between to catch you guys up. But I can't wait to share it with y'all what all's been going on back there. I just love just moseying out around there. King of DIY says, show us some shadow boxing. I'm sure you would love to see that right now. Tell you what, you show me first, and I'll show you. But no, I'll show you some bag tricks. Some tea bag tricks. Oh, did I say that out loud? I was supposed to keep that in my head. Alex Bradbury says, any difference in your experience between breeding pseudomugul and rainbows? So rainbows are definitely much more easier in my opinion. As well, it also depends on the rainbow because there's some rainbows that are just prolific breeders. Like for instance, a Melanitania splendida inornata. When those things are big and they breed out, you're talking about like 1,000 babies. But then you get like dwarf neons where it's a smaller fish. You're only going to get like, yeah, you can build up to maybe 1,000, but you're going to be picking them out for a long time trying to gather that out, depending on how many you have, of course. But of course, pseudomuguls only have a certain size belly, not as big as like some of the other rainbows, so the numbers aren't as much. And sometimes they can be a little more pickier. Rainbows are kind of like pups, you know. They'll eat about anything and just breed all the time. Show us, show us. Oh, you guys want to see it, huh? You guys will see it. Don't worry. You guys are going to have to, if you guys haven't subscribed to the channel, yeah, you're going to have to subscribe to the channel because I'm definitely going to be making a video about it once it all comes out. I might have some fun with it. You guys will see a little bit there. So when Lucas wins, does he get the King of DIY title? Asked Henry. So actually what we are fighting for is this belt. It's glorious. It's like a real like freaking belt. So whoever gets that belt has to see the other person keeping that in their fish room, you know. He offered me his play button as like a side bet. I was like, I want to earn my play button. I don't want to just take his play button. But I do want that belt. And he's known since we've talked about this event. Like he was talking about like doing all these good things for me. I was like, you know, I don't really care about all that. All I want is a shot for the belt, which I wasn't going to get at first. But God be looking out. I don't know how it happened, but I ended up being in this opportunity for that belt. That's what I want. That's what I freaking want. It's just who's going to want it more, Joey or me. July Edwards says, I recently set up a tank for my mom and it should be cycled. When can I start no water change or should I wait till tank is seasoned? How to tell if it's seasoned or ready for no water change? So honestly, like with the no water change, is good for a little while because it does help your tank establish. But if you can get in a regimen of water changing, it is better for your plants and fish. But it's not as dire necessary. Now I want to go, like some tanks I have gone a long time without water changes. But, you know, the plants don't do that great. Like, they kind of hit homeostasis. They don't grow as prolifically as they would if you were doing water changes. That, and you should do some kind of maintenance within your tank, because you're getting into your tank, you're looking at your tank. And, you know, even if it is your first tank, or even your second, third, or fourth, they don't all react the same. So even if you do a no water change tank, doesn't mean that it won't need maintenance, unless it was set up where it didn't have too much light, where there was enough plants. Now you can do no light, no plants, and just substrate, and this actually works really phenomenally. And I should talk to you guys more about that in a like an actual long form video. But my best tanks were like where I didn't have to do any maintenance, was absolutely just ambient light and just substrate, rock. Like some of the lower light plants you can get away with, like guppy grass and vallisneria. But I would never say, like, I wouldn't never say no water change. Like, at some point, you're probably going to want to give it a little fresh. Just because I've gone with no water changes, I don't mean that forever. And I know some people who preach the no water change. The whole idea of the no water change is to let your tank get established to where it becomes lively on a microscopic biology level. So there's a lot of little bacterias and organisms that take care of things, and less water changes you do, the less they mess those up. And you do big water changes and you over oxygenate your tank, then that's when that stuff dies and gets beat up on, and then it causes problems for your other tank. So it's all about balancing that naturalness. It's all about balancing, not one way or the other. EJ Nightcar says, any side bets for fish? I did mention that he needs to be getting in, like he has to get a blue Gularis killifish. I mentioned something about that because I want him to promote blue Gularis killifish more than anything. And he doesn't realize that the best blue Gularis killifish breeder literally is probably not that far from him. He lives in Canada. Name's Peter DeSalza. Older gentleman, really awesome guy, sweet guy. And he breeds some of the most fantastic fish out there when it comes to, like, you'll never see a prettier fish than those blue Gularis he breeds. So I wish he would just like get one of those and know what it feels like, because they're like little water puppies. They're cool. My blue Gularis, I trained it to come into my hand, pet it, feed it, all that stuff. He just doesn't know it yet. And then I'll hook him into killifish. I think that would be amazing. The King of DIY, thank you so much for the $50 super chat. This guy's trying to punch me and support me. What do you guys think about that? What do you guys think about that? He says, make no mistakes about this. I know what I am. I don't think you know who Lucas is. Dude's an animal. I talk to him. He says stuff only people that come from my walk of life say. Honestly, hold me and him is up in the air. Best of luck, dude. Gonna need it. Yeah. Tell you what, it is gonna be a battle royale for this title, for this belt. Like, it's the Fins and Fury title, the Fins and Fury belt. And, you know, Joey's not a slouch, you know. I'm not a slouch. We're both animals. I think I've howled on the phone with him before. So he knows. We all know, like, if you guys know anything about Joey, you can't take him lightly. But I would definitely recommend, like, this is going to be wild. But thank you, Joey, so much for the huge super chat. I appreciate that, brother. And it will be kind of hard to fight the guy because, you know, I really learned to love him. Scroll. Oh, who's Father Fish fighting? Yeah, I'm pretty sure everybody was given the opportunity. So the people that you see going for this, like, They're the real ones. They're tough. They're not worried about their ego. They can put it down on the line. You know, they're willing to give you guys a show. A lot of other people, they're not willing to do that. They're scared. Brayton, not saying that I'm like the toughest one in the world, because you know I was being a military brat. My stepdad told me there's always somebody bigger and badder, but you know, and when you match them up and put them up, like Joey and I match like really well as far as like size and everything. Like I'm a little taller than him, but like speed, I think there's going to be a lot of speed and technique in this. It's really going to be up in the air. Brayton Lightcap says, Lucas, how long do you think your current stock of trout gudgeons will last? Is this going to be a regular thing? So right now, I've probably got like 4, 8, 12 left, if that. But I do got a pond full, but I don't know when they'll be ready, because it'll be a while till I will want to pull them all out of the pond. So it might be a little while. So there's not many left. That's the thing about my fish. They don't last a lot. A lot of people ask me, like, how do you, or some people, not a lot, but some people ask me, how do you have so many tanks, but, like, not always, like, a ton on your website, which we actually got more on our website now than we have for a while. Granted, last week you guys chewed up quite a bit. But there's still a lot there. But the reason is it goes quick, because I can only breed so many. And being specialty fish you can't like get at Petco, and cooler fish, you know, high demand. Hudson S says, what do you think about Phoenix moss? Needs water change. All your mosses will need water changes. So that's one of those plants that you can't do a no water change on. When it comes to any moss, water changes will be your best friend. Don't overdo it, but just like a regimen, like maybe once a week or twice a week, goes a long way when it comes to moss. And the harder the moss to keep, the more frequent of water change can help you transition it into your aquarium. Appreciate that, Alex. Scott Brigner says, why would you want to do that in your hand? What, pet the blue Galaris? Why not? Artist Lisa Matthews says, the red chins. My question is, if babies keep surviving with parents over time, how many can I keep in the 10-gallon, especially if I end up with several males? Well, that depends on how often you change the water. I mean, with killies, they don't really need a whole lot, but their growth will be better if you do change the water, like a little bit here and there. It could really vary, because after a while, the killifish will kind of battle for food. And if there's not enough food, you're going to get more aggression. So if that does start happening, where you're starting to community breed them more, as long as you realize that you've got more mouths to feed and you keep up on keeping them satiated, or where they're not hungry, then you'll have a lot better chance of getting more of a community built out of it. So it could go as big as it can within that realm. And the reason why I mentioned that you will have to water change more is because the more that food you put in there, the more that you want to change the water, because obviously you're running more waste and stuff. And it's harder to like really get a whole lot of biology within a 10-gallon to like go too crazy with it. Alright, Scroll. Rosie, my Tang Tiger, yellow and cherry Neo shrimp produced a clear shrimp with dark prominent stripes. Really cool looking. Have you seen that? They're separated now. So the Tang Tiger, imagine, didn't breed with your yellow and cherry Neo shrimp, unless that's just orange Neocaridina. Tangerine tigers are Caridina species, and they won't breed with the yellow and cherry. But breeding the yellow and cherries together can create what you mentioned, the clear with white stripes, which is a wild type shrimp. So they kind of revert back. The genes start recessing. All right, King. Take care. Appreciate you, Joey. Thanks for the support, my man. And I'm pleased to beat you later. Rachel S. says, do you think multifasciatus will breed in 7.8 pH? The punctatus? Now, when you talk about pH, I'm not a fan of pH, but that is telling me that you're at least on the alkalytic side of the spectrum. You're not like way over it. So you probably got moderately hard water, probably roughly between 200-300 TDS is what that's telling me. pH is a goose chase. It reads per hydrogen. Shouldn't even be taught in the hobby. I know a lot of people, like, they don't get it when I say that, but you just wait. I'm going to keep freaking talking about it, and we're all going to come to realize that we shouldn't have been using pH to begin with because it causes more problems than it solves. And to answer your question, punctatus, they are the multifasciatus, will do all right in that 7.8 pH. My hat? Did you guys read my hat? You guys didn't read my hat, did you? Did I show the back of my hat? No. Why are you laughing at my hat? Wandering Spirit says, LRB, you gonna make any updates on your blue Gularis? You know, probably soon at some point, because it is on the list to breed. I'm actually cleared out the 10-gallon to work on them. I do got to separate them and condition them before I breed them. But with the blue Gularis, I'm going to breed them a little more sterile, like the old school method, because it seems like that is the best for the blue Gularis. I have tried to breed them in so many other ways. Now, I've been half tempted to put them outside and just see what happens through that way. But being it's the only pair of blue Gularis I have, and it's such a beautiful pair, and they're huge. Like, I could have taken them to the AKA convention and actually won some awards with them. I want to at least breed them the traditional way. That way I have some backup if, for some reason, something happened out in the wild and they RIP'd. Now, I don't think they would, but I wouldn't want that to happen. Dun, 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 dun. Where can you get this shirt? Oh, I don't know. Maybe Google Eat, Sleep, Fish shirt. I know I should be better at like plugging merch and stuff like that, but you know, I like to mess with fish. Fish is what I like to mess with. These aquariums, fish, shrimp, plants, all that stuff. I prefer to do that than any like business stunts and other things. It's who I am. It's who I am. Tucker Ivy says, what do you think of father fish tanks? Like, ain't nothing wrong with the natural method. Like, maybe do some water changes once in a while. But I love father fish. He's bridging the gap for a lot of what I do. Because he does watch my channel and he reverberates a lot of what I do through his channel. Sometimes it kind of rubs me like I feel like he's taking it from me. But at the same time, that's what this is for. I'm supposed to be sharing, and if he can share it with others, and he's dove clear down the rabbit hole, like he gets it. Not a lot of people got what I was doing or what I'm doing here. They see these tanks and they judge a book by its cover without giving it the time, which I mean, I understand. But for those chosen ones that stay here and listen and learn, I mean, that's what I'm here. I'm here for you guys. And so this Father Fish is better at catching the people who do judge books by their covers. Because the way he puts the videos together and his editor, they do a really good job. Deer Hunter 456, what's your largest tank? So, unfortunately, my largest tanks are 75s in my barn. I wish I had bigger tanks and space for bigger tanks, but I do have a pond that was 480 gallons. It's only holding probably like 200 gallons, if that, right now. And then I've got tons of totes and tubs that are like 110 gallons. And then I've got some ponds that are like lots and lots and lots of gallons. Thoughts on a reef tank? Granted, this is a freshwater QnA, and I mean, I'm close to the bottom anyways. Not a whole lot of questions behind me. I'll go ahead and answer that. My thoughts on a reef tank, they are cool in their own sense. I've never been real drawn to them. Granted, I've seen like so many of them. But like, if you're into corals, yeah, I can see that. Like, ooh, I really enjoy this coral or that coral and that combination and whatnot. But it's not like freshwater aquariums where there's a lot more versatility to it, to where you can create so many different ecosystems and environments that actually look different. Now, if you get real creative with coral, there is some. I gotta let the cat out here. There is a few different ways to do it and escape them out, like if you're real smart about it. But I don't think it has as much reach or depth as freshwater. But I would like to get a saltwater tank at some point for the saltwater shrimp. Just gotta spend the time to set it up. But I've been summer tubbing. It's hard to miss out on summer tubbing. 'Tis the season. I'll probably do that like more. I can imagine when it starts getting colder, I start bringing things in. I don't know how that's gonna go with summer tubbing either. Anyways, you guys will have to stick around for that. Alex Bradbury says, "Hey Lucas, can you email an address for me to send you a rainbow fish shirt I sent you a pic of?" Yeah, I'll hit you up. Paul C says, "Hi Lucas, airstone versus water pump," which that shirt was cool. God, how many rainbow fish did you have on that shirt? Like so many varieties. It was awesome. Paul C says, "Hi Lucas, airstones versus water pump, which is better for plants?" That's a good question. I like that question, Paul. So I would go with the water pump. Will definitely be better for your plants than the airstone. For us that have kept fish rooms and have had lots of air stones and sponge filters and stuff, they can tend to be magnets for algae. And it kind of pushes stuff up and over. So if it is pushing mulm, it's pushing it more in this circular direction, which when mulm lays on top of plant leaves, then it causes problems for the plants. Now with the pump, the water pump, it will push more of that mulm off, and you can also get sponge attachments to them to where you can actually polish the water as well, which is great for holding beneficial bacteria and also just helping keep the tank cleaner longer. So definitely a water pump in my opinion. Vincy for Fish 98 says, "LRB, I know you're not a fan of pH, and I just got a TDS meter. I am right in thinking if I can drop TDS using distilled water to cut hard water, the pH will drop, and I can keep more delicate fish." Yeah, well, you can cut it with distilled and hard water and meet yourself somewhere in the neutral range. That's what so in my old fish house that I had and sold, with all the fish tanks in it, I had a water change system that I could do RO water or do tap water. And when I would do water changes, I would do like certain portions depending on what TDS I was trying to target. And really, if you're keeping around 200 TDS, you can keep about anything. And actually, when you start keeping under 200 and that more acidic water, is harder for bacterial and fungal infections and things to happen. So it is good for more delicate fish because they are less likely to get hit with these negative things that can cause them problems. But usually, when it comes to delicate fish, I think a lot of it is more their immunities getting stressed out. I think a lot of fish that some people think are delicate may not be as delicate as they are, as much as it being the source of where they come from and all they have to go through, and then the type of situation they're put in again too. So like, say for instance, you get like some people used to think tetras were delicate, which maybe at the beginning they kind of were, and then they kind of been bred out to be more hardy. But let's just use that as the example, the cardinal tetra being more delicate. And people would get them in, and then they would medicate the crap out of them. The wholesaler would. And then the fish store would medicate them, and then the person at home would medicate them. And by the time they go through all that, it's really hard on them. But yeah, definitely knowing your fish and what your fish prefer makes a big difference. Neo Veritas 7 says you should do 125 show tanks. Yeah, so hopefully I will have to add on to the barn. Hopefully soon at some point I will do that and get to that. It's a journey. It's what I'm building up for. So I got a lot of fish, shrimp, and plants to sell to get to that. LRBAquatics.com. But that is definitely on the list where I want like bigger show tanks that like 125 and above, like 210s, 240s. And just have all that more like automated to where they're just like real nice tanks. And that way I can have my braiding tanks doing my braiding stuff and my display tanks doing their things. EJ Nykar says, what is the hardest fish you had tried to keep and why? You know, the one that has given me troubles more than any fish out there ever have been these Manthias, or I don't know how you say their real name. They're like these red tail fish. I don't know if it's a lighting thing. It's one I recently tried to keep and I didn't. I kept every other tough like little tetra and everything else, like toucan tetras and some other things, and like I haven't had an issue with any fish besides like that is the one fish that I have had issues with. Maybe it was something with them, with the shrimp, or like I don't know what it was, but they were in this tank. But like one dropped, then another dropped, and then another dropped. They just like dropped one by one, not all at once, but it's the only one that has given me troubles. Besides that, like the rest of them have been like easy. Now I've had troubles like breeding certain fish where they've been real tricky to breed. Like still trying to get these rope fish to breed. The mascara barbs aren't like so quick to breed all the time. Which a lot of that is just putting my attention to it properly. I keep and try to organize and juggle so much to, keep the family fed and the dream going and getting content out for you guys. You guys know. I was actually thinking about this earlier today, like what it would be like to have a normal job. Because usually I'm like, oh, I don't know if I would really like that. But like the more I thought about it, I was like, man, I would get my evenings back. I would get my weekends back. Granted, I want to enjoy it as much, but I would have time. But like this, this is a non-stop job. Cloud 9 and 9, but I'm thankful for it. I enjoy what I do, like going around, moseying around, breeding fish. Like, God, that's what I love. That's why I'm doing it. But I wear many hats having to do what I do. Cloud99 says, any unique small fish ideas for a 30-gallon planted? As far as unique, I guess it depends on what you've seen yet. The Kobatai Rasbora, or the, Kobatai Rasbora, excuse me, and the Chili Rasbora, really cool combo with the green and the red. I think if you would mash some Tucano tetras in there with that, which those aren't the cheapest, but they're super freaking cool. I would recommend also, if you want to go down like a big deep rabbit hole, Wet Spot Tropicals has a tetra list that is like nobody else's. And you start Googling on all those different names for those tetras and start learning about them. That can lead you down a huge rabbit hole, something to spend your Friday night or Saturday night looking at and just like, ooh, I think I want that, or ooh, I may want that, and try this and that. Which I think that's half the fun of keeping an aquarium, is going down those rabbit holes, especially if you like those oddball, unique kind of fish. Adrian's Fish Room, good to see you in here, old mate. Says, have you ever tried a brackish tank or pond? So I haven't, but that has also been on the bucket list because I've seen them done and I want one. Is a brine shrimp pond. So where you're keeping brine shrimp just like cultivating out in a little pond. But I would like to do that. Just honestly, like I've been thinking about this today, and I keep telling myself not to think about it because it's just over the top. I'm not there yet, and I need to get everything else organized before I start even thinking about that stuff. Honestly, like I need a bigger barn, and I need to stretch an area to where I can have more outside stuff, because my outside stuff filled up so freaking quick, so quick. As much as I would love a brackish tank or pond, at the same time, that means I can't breed something. And with the Daphnia, as well as it's been breeding out there and going, because I do keep just Daphnia tanks, because they're smaller tanks. I feel like if you're going to do a brine shrimp tank, I would want something huge like 110 gallons. But if you're just keeping fish out there, I don't know. That would be neat too. I haven't, like, that's a whole nother game. Yeah, I don't know. I'm definitely not there. There's just too much in the freshwater to mess with. Brandy Rutledge, I was just thinking about you today. Hope you're doing well. I was thinking I ain't seen you for a while. Glad to see you in here. Says, do Mendeka breed better outside? So they definitely do. They definitely do. Matter of fact, I will be coming out with a video at some point, probably, hopefully within this month of June, to where I update you guys on how well rice fish look and are doing outside in comparison to what they were doing inside. It's just night and day. I also was learning more about them. They need light to breed, so if they don't have a certain amount of light, it is harder to breed them. So they have to have at least over 8 hours. Like 10 hours of light is good for breeding Mendeka. Oh, so those are all Australian rainbows, Alex Bradbury. Okay. Good. Joshua Kernbauer says, best hardy plants. I would say pretty much anything on my website. I have drug all those plants that are on the website through the mud and back, as far as like trying to live. Like no water changes for the longest time. Don't need much oxygen, low tech. Like anything listed on that, there are your low tech, real hardy, easy plants. I think Reishi is probably, there's only a couple left on Reishi, which Reishi is probably the hardest plant to keep on there. And it's not that hard either. With a filter, it can be hard, but with a no filter, it's not. All the rest, forget about it. You can put them in any scenario and they'd be great. Like, you don't even need soil or substrate to grow any of those plants. Key Betta says, do you have any betta fish? So I do have some wild bettas, the Maculata. That's the only one I have now. I've kept a lot of bettas in the past. I went as far as like buying $500 pair of bettas multiple times. And, you know, trying to breed them and, you know, getting cellophanes and, you know, have males and females beat each other up. So I don't keep a whole lot of bettas anymore because they are a bit of a work. And I feel like there's so many people messing around with bettas that I don't have to, like, really put much attention towards them. Not like killifish. Wolf HVAC says, hello, started a deep dirt substrate tank capped with sand 5 days ago. Water turned yellow almost overnight. Loaded tank with stem plants, have 6 guppies and a pleco. Any advice? Fish seem happy still. So, if your water turned yellow, I don't know if you're on well water. Could it be a sulfur reaction through your well water? And or I don't know if you have any tannin materials like driftwood or leaves in there, but normally without those things, shouldn't be just turning yellow. I don't know what your substrate's made out of. Kind of weird. Ooh, the ANGFA conference, Alex. God, I wish I could go to that. Wandering Spirit says, I want to summer tub, but I have so many birds, raccoons, possums, skunks, etc. that I fear inevitable doom. Thoughts, can I cover them? So what I want to do, well, okay, I guess I can share it with you guys, but I would like to create a protection around all my stuff at some point. But for right now, nature's nature. And that's the way I look at it. I've got a ton of fish out there. I have backups for my backups. I have seen paw prints around my tubs. I've seen frogs. There's dragonfly larvae in there. I don't think dragonfly larvae is as detrimental as some people say. I think they get blamed for a lot of things. And, you know, I haven't had any issues out there yet. And I am lucky because I do have bigger ponds on the property for the birds. So luckily I haven't had like any herons come through and like try to eat things up, because I have heard people have issues with those. So that is like probably the biggest worry would be like herons over like raccoons, skunks and possums. Because the raccoons, they would be the most rascally out of those marsupials. But they won't like really like decimate. Like, they're not gonna sit there and try to catch every little fish to try to eat. You imagine a raccoon trying to catch little guppies to eat them. Like, they're gonna have a hard time. Like, they may thrash around and knock some plants around, disturb things, but the dust will settle. You replant it if you want. If not, it's gonna grow back, and it is what it is. And I've learned this because at my old house, where I had those heated outdoor tubs that I do all year round, every summer would come a mama raccoon with her 3 babies, and her 3 babies would play in my bigger pond every year and just go muck and rustle around. Like, maybe a rainbow fish would get sacrificed here and there, like usually like 1 or 2 a season. Besides that, like hundreds and others were born and bred. So, you know, I guess gotta feed the wildlife too. Oh, we are over the hour mark. As much as I would love to stay on here, God, there's a bunch of questions too. I do have to hop off because I've still got to edit the video for tomorrow, and I got a few other fish and aquarium things that I want to do. before tonight. So it's going to be a long one for me. And then I also want to get up early because I got a special thing I want to do tomorrow for my fish as well. So I'm going to have to hop off here. Sorry I didn't get to your questions. But if you still really want them answered, always feel free to leave it in a comment on any of my videos. I will try my best to get to it when I can. And on that note, I hope you guys all have a great weekend. I appreciate you all. Until next time, everybody, peace. Have a great one. Da 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 da. Ooh, how fancy.